Our product is hospitality, and our beer and our food are key elements in that. But to keep it simple, we give a damn. We take pride in our work and strive to curate every aspect of the Legion experience. Details matter. You'll find that idea ingrained in all that we do in our three primary areas: the brewing process, or brew house, the back of house, or the kitchen and the front of house, where customers are served. In each of these areas, you'll find we are always looking for a better way to serve our customers. This is an overview of these three areas of Legion Brewing.
What I love about brewing is it's creation, but it's meditation, because anything you do affects the flavor of beer. I mean, if you look at it wrong, it'll change the flavor. So just the intense focus that you have to put on it, but also working with your hands and the fun of the labor. It's very tactile, and then the end result, you get to bring people together and share a pint or laugh about how bad you messed that batch up. It's still fun either way. So I just love surrounding yourself around the table and sharing a pint with whatever you make. So this is our malt room. The brewing process starts at the silos that are outside. This room we dose through super sacks and 50-pound sacks through the hopper, and then from this malt room it goes to the mill room. This is the mill room. The grain coming through the pipe with the puck and chain pulling it through, and you can see the puck and chain actually here. It pulls the uncrushed malt through the pipes and drops it in the top of the mill. The mill has two big steel rollers that crush the grain. It doesn't pulverize it. It basically just smushes out the inside of the grain. That way the inside of the grain can be exposed to water when it goes to the mash tun. So once it gets crushed, it goes through here. This hopper, we add things that don't get crushed, like rice hulls or maize or flaked oats, something that already has the inside of the grain ready to be hydrated with water. Once the grain is crushed and the hopper is filled, it goes into our grist case here. This grist case is on load cells. It weighs out the grain recipe to make sure that we have the proper amount of grain per batch. Once we have a full recipe of grain in here, we're ready to mash in, and we send it over to our mash tun and start the brewing process. We're in our tap room, actually right behind the bar. One of the cool things that we do here at Legion is our working brew house is right there for everybody to see. When you come in, you can share it, have a pint, and sit at the bar 20 feet away and watch our brewers make beer. The vessel that I'm leaning on right here is our mash tun. Once the grain, the malt, gets sent through the mill room and crushed, loaded in our grist case. From the grist case, it gets chain conveyed over to the top, dropped through the sight glass right here. That sight glass is our Aloysius. Basically what this sight glass does is it hydrates the grain. It's sprayed, as the grain drops through, it's sprayed with hot water. It creates a cereal mixture. That hot water activates the enzymes that are naturally on the outside of the grain. Those enzymes convert the starches of the malt, the grain, into sugars. Those sugars then dissolve into water. That process is called mashing. From our mash tun, that cereal mixture is then pumped over to our lauter tun. This vessel right here has a false bottom on it. Basically, it's a sieve at the bottom of the vessel, and we strain off clean, clear sugar water from that grain bed. The sugar water is then sent over to our wort kettle where we boil it. The spent grain is then captured and pumped up and through the side of the building here and all the way back to our spent grain silo, where our local farmers come pick it up, take it back to their farms, feed their livestock with it, and then some of those cattle end back up on our menu later. After we're done pumping the spent grain back and the wort over to our wort kettle. Wort is basically just the German word for sugar water. Our malted sugar water is then boiled in our wort kettle here for about 90 minutes, depending on the recipe. And we also hop it. You know, there's 3 main hop cycles that go into any one given recipe. On the hot side, we've got bittering hops that are added at the beginning of the boil. We've got flavor hops that are added in the middle of the boil, and we've got aromatic hops that are added at the end of the boil. Depending on the recipe, all those hops may be different flavors, or it could be the same hop, just added at different times, creates different flavors and aromas and bitterness levels during that cycle. Once it's done boiling, we then pump it over to a whirlpool, and we use centrifugal force to spin that hop trub and protein coagulate off of the clear liquid. That clear liquid is then run through a heat exchanger to cool it down to send back to the cellar, which is where we actually make beer. Here we're just making sugar water. We're in the cellar. Right here behind me is a 200-barrel conical fermenter. The beer happens when the sugar water, the wort, is pumped into the fermenter. We add the yeast. The yeast eat the sugars and create 2 main byproducts, alcohol and carbon dioxide. And then that's beer. So after it's done fermenting for, about a week and a half for ales like Juicy J, we'll dry hop it, essentially dump hops in one of the pieces of equipment in the back. Those dry hops give the beer that big floral or mango or piney aroma, depending on what kind of flavor of hops that you use. And so ales are in here for about 2 weeks from the start of fermentation to the time it's ready to package. Lagers are in here for about 6 weeks. Cleanliness is so hyper important. Anything you do will affect the flavor of beer, especially if it's not clean. CIP is clean in place. So basically we don't have to touch it. We can just click a button and it cleans it. Each tank is dosed with different caustic or acid that's used in cleaning cycles, whether we're cleaning a fermenter or cleaning a brew house. Once the beer is done fermenting, we pump it through all the transfer pipes, and then it comes into our centrifuge. It uses centrifugal force to pull the solids off of the liquids. Depending on the beer, if it's Juicy J, we spin it at a low RPM, and so we don't want to pull everything out of the beer because Juicy J looks pretty with a nice haze in it. We'll spin it at a lower RPM than we would a Pilsner or some of our other lagers that we make, that we do want that crystal transparency to it. Once we're done with the centrifuge, this goes through an inline carbonation. Yeast create 2 main byproducts, alcohol and CO2. So we do recapture that CO2 and naturally carbonate the beer. But to have that consistency, we'll run it through an inline carbonator to make sure it meets spec before it goes out to the marketplace. After the inline carbonation, it goes into one of our packaging tanks here. It makes canning and our kegging processes easier because it can pull from a clean, ready to package tank. We're in our packaging area of our brewery. It pumps overhead to our kegging line or our canning line behind us. Kegging line, we have dirty kegs that come in from all over the city, different restaurants and bars. We'll put them in upside down, and the insides get dumped out and cleaned with caustic. Then the outside of the kegs get rinsed twice to clean off all the gunk from our customers. We use steam to sanitize the insides of the keg. Then the next head gives it a CO2 purge because you don't want dissolved oxygen in a finished beer. And then the last head fills the keg up. It then gets inverted, right side back up, and shoots out the conveyor on this side right here. Once the beer is done fermenting, conditioning, and goes through into our packaging tank, our bright tank, it's then pumped over to here on canning day. This will take our bright empty cans, clean them out, fill them up, seam the top on top, spray off the beer, run it into a labeler, put it into a board wrap, either 4-packs or 8-packs, and then those 4-packs or 8-packs are put into case trays. Those case trays are put onto pallets and then into the cooler to send out to market.
Throughout the brewing process, many things are critical, but safety and quality are essential. Our materials and beer are tested repeatedly throughout the process in our on-site lab to ensure consistency, quality, and safety. The back of house is what we call our kitchen and food support area. This is where we create and deliver the innovative menu items to our customers.
Everything is made from scratch, yes. Everything, that, including our vinaigrettes. We make our vinaigrettes, our charcuteries, really trying to go to the next level. Our executive chef his backgrounds come from fine dining restaurants, and that's what we're trying to implement here. We're trying to use like good quality ingredients and also local ingredients that they make them good. You're gonna see things that you don't see in regular brewers. So we're trying to make really good dishes, like fine dining dish, and every single specialty we have, we put from fine dining. By the way, this is our main Andres. Andres, 900,000 degrees pizza oven. Okay, so this is our main equipment right now because everybody just want to come from Texas. But we also had a custom-made Argentinian grill. This is custom-made on California, and it's just we got different types of grills. We got the Speedies right here, one over here, and on our main grill in the middle. You can see it's all wood, pretty much wood. Our expo line, which is an open kitchen right here, and then we got our salad station in the corner. Pretty much is all we have on the front. It's a small kitchen, we do a lot of stuff. And then if you look on the other side, we got our prep area.
The front of house is what we call all the areas of our tap rooms, where our customers interact with Legion. This includes service on the outdoor beer garden, the indoor restaurant seating area, and the bar. And this is where all of the elements of Legion's products and culture come together. This is the front line of interaction and where we help create and share our core values.
The main thing that's important for front of house to understand, because we deal directly with people so much, that's, the primary thing that we do. So we take that curiosity and kind of extend it out to the guests that we have as well, trying to find out, I'm curious about you. What do you like? What are your beers that you normally enjoy? What food do you normally enjoy? All of those things. And, through that curiosity, we can really hone in and create a special experience for these people because we found something they hadn't had before that they really do enjoy, kind of honing in and finding similar offerings to what they like.
Wherever you are working here at Legion, you will receive specific and ongoing training in your role. Staying connected is essential to our company's health. We need to hear from you about how you're doing, how our customers are doing, and any ideas you have for how Legion can continue to grow and improve. Thank you for joining Legion Brewing.